Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday. It is the first day of March 2022. I hope your family is healthy and safe today. I hope that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders, trying every day for the sole purpose of saving life. Blessings upon those also that pick up garbage for us, to keep streets, sidewalks, and highways clean. And those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessing on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver the victims of child molestation, the victims of pedophilia, the victims of child prostitution and prostitution, the victims of pornography and child pornography, the victims of sex slavery and human trafficking, and double curses from the Most High of righteousness upon the perpetrators, the perverts, and the profiteers that traffic in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and also children living in the streets of the United States, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So, yesterday's news, I saw some disappointing news from the New York Knicks. Not that I should be surprised at that, because unfortunately, over the last 20 years or so, there's been more disappointing news coming out of MSG than good news. So this kind of is par for the course. I found out yesterday, it was reported that by Ian Begley, that the Knicks and MitchRob have been discussing an extension the whole season, but that they're far apart on their numbers. Now, apparently the maximum the Knicks can offer Mitchell Robinson is 4 years and $48 million. In my view, this is a no-brainer. So in other words, if they're far apart, then what the Knicks are offering is much less than 4 years and $48 million. Let me explain something to you, Knicks Nation. Over my lifetime, this has always been the case. Even when Walt Frazier and Willis Reed and Dave DeBusschere and Jerry Lucas were running the court for the Knicks, and Bill Bradley, there were always people in New York that always thought that other players on other teams were worth more than their players. Now you look back and you see a team that won 2 rings and you think that's crazy. But look now. What you're seeing now has always been. When Patrick Ewing was playing and the Knicks were winning under Pat Riley and later Jeff Van Gundy, the Knicks were winning 50, 55, 60 games a year. The media in New York were complaining about Ewing. They were complaining about the coach, about the team, and always looking at other players as saviors for the team that they always felt was worse. So it shouldn't surprise me that everybody's undervaluing Mitchell Robinson. Even Knicks Nation is undervaluing him. It shouldn't surprise me, because I've seen some crazy things this year on my YouTube account that every player on every team is better than our team. Every player. People this year have been asking for RJ Barrett to be traded. This year. And people have said, oh, he's already reached the ceiling, he's not going to get any better. There's knuckleheads out there, crazy people. Now, the thing that's different now, fortunately, is that James Dolan would respond to these things. The media, he would respond to the fans and the foolishness some of them would come out with. And he would push for moves that would hurt the Knicks. Okay? He would push for moves that would hurt the Knicks. But now he's leaving it up to Leon Rose and Scott Perry and the front office to make these decisions. which in a way does make it more disappointing. Y'all just remember, it was like, I think in the last 2 weeks, maybe, before the All-Star break, MitchRob had a 21 rebound game and a 17 rebound game. Y'all know that he's 23, right? And he's got 3 or 4 more years of growth. You understand it? And he put out a tweet yesterday that summed it up for me. And I'm going to put the tweet in the description box. But he put, everyone knows when everybody gets involved and the ball moving and everyone touching the ball, the energy and effort goes to another level. Let me ask you this, he's saying, be 100% with your answer. How would you feel just running up and down the court for 48 minutes? In other words, he's just running on the treadmill like he's jogging. He's not getting the rock. They're not looking for him. Now you would ask yourself, even some of the people that don't know basketball, which there's a lot, unfortunately, in Knicks Nation because we're a big nation. But you know that if you get the ball up in the air to Richard Robinson, anywhere near him, he's going to catch it and flush it, even if it's a bad pass, that he has really good hands. Okay? In basic basketball, just basic ball, junior high, high school, street, if you got a big man running with you and he's getting you rebounds and he's getting you block shots, what do you do as a point guard? You reward the big man. You reward him. In other words, when you see him running the floor, you look for him because that encourages him to keep running the floor. But when you have guards that are playing point guard that shouldn't, first, they're going to miss him when he's open. Secondly, they're not going to reward him when he runs the floor after making a block or getting a big rebound. He's going to run the floor and they're going to jack up a 3, looking for their own shot. And some of y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay? You got this kid that's 23 years old. And he still has offensive game to develop. And some of y'all are out there talking about prove. See, this is why you get players on the Knicks that the Knicks drafted that become all-stars, championship pieces, all defensive players on other teams. Marcus Camby. I personally know Marcus Camby. And I remember when he came to the Knicks, and I remember the complaints about him. He's not healthy. He's injury prone. Trade him. Guess what? They did. He went to Denver and became Defensive Player of the Year. Okay? And if we'd have kept him, we'd have kept our defense. Because he used to clear the boards. One shot. That's it. Now, I agree the Knicks, Van Gundy, does this sound familiar? Van Gundy would play him too many minutes. I remember when he was drafted by Toronto and I said, you know what? This is a guy, and I loved Marcus Camby. I watched him, I coached him. And I said, you don't want to pay Marcus Camby more than 25 minutes a game. Calipari used to do that at UMass. I said, you don't want to play him more than 25 minutes a game because you're going to get hurt. If you play him 25 minutes a game, he's going to be like Bill Russell on defense. And that's what he was. And the year they went to the finals, if you recall, he came off the bench. He and Sprewell came off the bench. And they went to the finals against the Spurs. Now they lost, but they were the 8th seed. And Camby was traded during that strike-shortened year to the Knicks, and Sprewell was signed. And they struck gold. My point being is that as Van Gundy tried to play him, run him into the ground, and he started getting hurt, then they howled for him because he's so injury prone, and they traded him. He became better on the Denver Nuggets. Okay? The Carmelo Anthony trade wasn't the first time we got fleeced by the Nuggets. And we got Antonio McDyess in that deal, who proceeded to wreck his knee, and that was the end of that. Here we are now, 20 years later, with a coach that runs his players into the ground. And this young man is running up and down the floor, and he's got ball hogs, and he's not getting the rock. And he's 23. He hasn't reached his prime yet. And he's asking for 4 years, 48 million. Look, man, he's better than Robert Williams III. And Robert Williams III is getting 39 million. He's not on the level yet of Capella. He's not on the level yet of Jarrett Allen. But their situations are different. Capella came into Houston Rockets playing with James Harden. Okay? Jarrett Allen came into the Nets playing with Kenny Atkinson. So their careers were different. Not that they're better than MitchRob physically, but they had different situations. Okay? And MitchRob is in a different situation here in New York. If the Knicks blow this is going to be bad. There's no way they should be balking about 4 years, 48 million. That should be done already. That should be done. Done. That's the right price. Not 8 million, 9 million, mid-level exception. You see, what y'all also got to remember. Y'all got to remember this now. Opposing teams will put out stuff, quote from some NBA scout, quote from some GM. They will put that crap out there because they want the Knicks to mess up, because they'll go ahead and take him and they'll win with him and pay him. Don't let, again, Nick hate in media is real. Y'all gotta, and some of y'all just buy into it like catnip. It drives me crazy, man. You gotta look at the game, and you gotta look at where we're at, and you gotta look at the player. This kid is Defensive Player of the Year, multiple time perennial potential. He hasn't even reached the surface yet. We haven't seen the best of Mitchell Robinson yet. Okay? If you let him play, and then this summer, and then now you get him a real point guard. Have you watched any of the G League games? I'm not saying Deuce McBride is going to average 35 in the NBA. But my point I'm going to make here is, have you seen him when he's playing with Jericho Sims in the G League? Have you seen the production that he gets out of Jericho Sims? How he gets him the ball? How he not only lobs it to him, but he rewards him when he's running the break. That's a point guard. That's a point guard right there. Okay? Not guys that come down and they're immediately looking for their shot first. Shoot first players are not real point guards. The Knicks do not play a real point guard right now. If they did, you would see a whole new Mitchell Robinson. A whole new one. Okay? So, I'm concerned. First of all, it would be a horrible move from the Don to lose Mitch for nothing. They could have traded him. They could have signed and traded him at the deadline. They balked at offers that were made for them, which to me means you must sign him. Don't wait. Because if you wait to the end of the season, now you got to do a sign and trade. And you might get players back you don't even want. I think that's probably why they balked at the Detroit deal. You telling me you're going to trade Mitchell Robinson for Isaiah Stewart? I like Isaiah Stewart, but he's not Mitchell Robinson. No, he's not. He don't have the length. He don't have the athleticism. He's a tough kid, and he's a tough, he'd be a good 5. He could not play the 4, but he's a good 5. He's undersized 5. Works hard. Okay. Nice. I like that. But he's not Mitchell Robinson. I'm going to be real. He's not. Mitchell Robinson is a lottery talent that we got in the second round. And he signed a 4-year, $5.8 million contract. That is robbery. But because he was drafted in the second round, it cost him money. He's trying to make up that money now. And 4 years, 48 is not ridiculous. It's ridiculous for them to be waiting on it. They need to just sign him to that as a cornerstone going forward. Okay, it's just, we're really wasting time right now. All right, they're wasting time. They need to get this deal done. Right? He's going to make, even at 448, that's about right for me. That's him. Because you're not only paying him on past production. At age 23, you're paying for the upside. You're paying for the upside. And I'm going to tell you something. he develops the way I think he is, he gonna get that $100 million when he's 26. He gonna get it. 26, 27, he gonna get that money. He gonna get it. So you might as well sign him now while you're getting him at a discount. It's ridiculous, man. So this has got my ire today because this is the real first. I mean, the Kemba Walker thing, I was happy about it because I was expecting, I believe what Kemba said when he said his knee was fine. And because of that, I was expecting 19 point per game Kemba. And I'm going to assume that Leon Rose did the same thing, that they thought, okay, his knee is fine. He's got a year under his belt getting it rehab now. Celtics rested him a lot. He's back to his old self. We can get him now cheap, 19 points per game Kemba. We didn't get that. We got 19 points per game Kemba every 5 games because his knee was shot. Okay. And it's a good thing they signed him to a 2-year deal. That was smart because in case his knee was shot, you're only dealing with him for 2 seasons. Okay. And so we see how that worked out. So I was happy because I thought we were getting 19 points per game Kemba, and I believe Leon thought that too. And that's why, but he signed him to 2 years, which was smart. And I'm glad we did that. Okay. But looking back, we realized it was a mistake. Evan Fournier, they wanted somebody to replace Reggie Bullock who had more offense. The problem was Evan Fournier has no defense. Now, I knew his market value. This is what's good about the contract that Leon had him sign. The market value for a starting 2 guard that can get you 17 a game is about 4 years, $72 million. That's about the right number. 4 years, $72 million, 4 years, $78 million. And he got that, but he did not guarantee the 4th year. So we really got him for 3 years, 54, which is cool. That's about the 18 million a year is not unusual for a starting 2 guard. A starting 2 guard that will get you 17 a game as Fournier had been in the NBA. Again, he's been up and down. His shot is falling mostly, but his defense has been a problem. Okay. So I was kind of okay with those, and I was hoping for the best as a Knicks fan. But this would be a blunder. This would be a major blunder. If they let Mitchell Robinson walk over 4 years, $48 million, that would be like the movie Equalizer, the first one. When Denzel walks into the Russian restaurant and he offers $9,000 for the young girl, the teenage girl, for her freedom. He offers the man $9,000. And the man argues with him, laughs at him over the $9,000. Then he was on his way out and he decided, no, I'm not going to let y'all do that. So he turns around, he locks the door. And you know what he does in the movie? He looks at his watch and he's figuring how many seconds it's going to take to kill all these men. And he did. And the one that was left was the one talking the most mess. And he sat on the floor and as the man was dying and he said, you just lost your life over $9,000. He said, the young girl, she going to continue her life and she going to be fine. But you could have been, but you just lost your life over $9,000. The Knicks are getting ready to lose a future defensive player of the year, possible all-star, over 4 years, $48 million. When there are guys getting $100 million in his position. When he's a $100 million player in the future. We need to get this done. We need to not listen to the Knick hate media that's always undervaluing our players and y'all following suit. We need to get this done. Okay, we need to get this done. Period. With all this crap that has happened this year, with Tom Thibodeau acting a fool, playing everybody except his real point guard, we need to get this done. The Knicks have the talent, could have been much better this year. We have the talent to have won. At this point, we definitely would have been over 500 at this point. If he had been playing Deuce McBride, if he had been playing with Duke McBride, Mitchell Robinson running the floor with a real point guard, if he had been playing Grimes earlier, especially during that COVID time in December, when you didn't have nothing and you put Kemba out there and you should have put McBride out there. And then McBride wins the game for us against Houston. They gave quickly all kind of hype because of the 3-pointers here, but that game is lost if it's not Deuce McBride out there. Okay, against a sorry Houston team. We would have lost that game. Okay, and that's the last you've seen of him. He gets 4 minutes, 40 seconds the next game, and then he's pulled. That's it. This is stupid. This is stubbornness that has turned into stupidity. Okay, stupidity. Now, I am going to assume that Leon Rose and Scott Perry and Walt Perrin and Brock Aller are going to get this right. Because, in my experience, this has been the best front office we have had in a long time. I can't remember. We had a good front office when Donnie Walsh was here. But that didn't last long. Thank you, Mr. Dolan. That did not last long. Okay. But we really have a good one now. I know people are tripping, saying he's an agent and he's not a basketball guy, blah, 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 blah. Leon Rose ain't stupid. He's cheap, but he ain't stupid. Okay? So I'm thinking they're going to get this right. And I'm thinking, before it's too late, they're going to sign Mitchell Robinson and he's going to get his money, which he deserves. And I'm thinking that eventually Deuce McBride will get the ball and they'll start really playing the way they should. I got to think that way. Otherwise, I'd be like some of y'all ready to jump off the bridge. So I'm going to stay cool. I'm going to let this play out and see how it works. Because if they let Mitchell Robinson go for nothing, that's fireable offense to me. That is malpractice. You cannot do that. And if you do it over 4 years, 48, I mean, what? You want to sign 3 years, 33, and you're going to fight with him over the 11. In the NBA, $15 million? That ain't no money over 4 years. That ain't no money. All right? So when teams have, $130 million team payrolls, come on, man. You going to let him walk over that? No, he's not. He's not going to do that. I'm saying Leon Rose ain't stupid. He's not going to do that. So let's see what happens. So the drama continues at Madison Square Garden. Now, a lot of it, I have to say, is media produced. But when Ian Begley says they're far apart and that they've been talking since December, Christmas, and they wanted to get it done before the All-Star break and they couldn't because they're far apart, and that the max that the Knicks can offer him is $448. Don't think that his agent ain't stupid. He knows that's the max. That ain't no money. If that's what you're talking about, what are we waiting for? Anyway, I want y'all to have a good day. Please enjoy your day today on Tuesday. And we will see you tomorrow before the Knicks take on Philadelphia in Philly. There'll probably be a press conference today because I'm assuming Thibodeau gave them the day off yesterday and that today they'll be back at practice and there'll be a post-practice media. And I want to see what he says about the lineups or whatever. So we'll see. Anyway, y'all be safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. Shalom.